League this week. We're going to start in Detroit, where Dan Campbell was asked about breaking in 2 new coordinators this season.
Continuity is always good because, every year you kind of learn what each other wants and how they work, how they function, and then you can move without saying a word. We'll be fine. We'll be fine, man. John Morton, man, stepping in, an offensive coordinator, somebody I know, I trust, I've been around. I mentioned this before. He was here when we built this thing back up in 22. And then Kelvin Shepard's been here, man. So it's not like it'll be starting from scratch or somebody that I don't know. It'll be kind of fresh and new, actually, and I think we're all excited to that.
Some familiarity is still there, but Dan, do you expect the Lions offense to take a step back this season?
I do, because the loss of Ben Johnson, who's their ex-offensive coordinator, now head coach of the Chicago Bears, has got to be felt. He has been one of the most creative offensive coordinators and minds in the NFL over the last 3 or 4 seasons. And the step 5, 6, 7 of the things that he does to free things up in their offense is very rare. And he's one of one when it comes to doing stuff like that. It doesn't mean that they're going to go from one of the best to one of the worst, but I don't think they're going to week in and week out shock us with some of the creative things that they do both in their run and pass game.
Let's go to Pittsburgh now, where owner Art Rooney was asked about Aaron Rodgers becoming a Steeler.
I would say it was a good sign that he wanted to do that, and we keep hearing that he's I guess headed in our direction, and so that seems to be, all signs are positive so far. I'd say we feel pretty good about it.
Are you content to wait?
Well, not forever, but a little while longer.
That's like the face of an impatient man, rightfully so, who's trying to keep it together. But Jeremy, what can you tell us about where things stand with Rodgers and the Steelers?
Yeah, so Laura, I just checked in with people in Pittsburgh, so they remain optimistic. Nothing has changed from a status standpoint. They continue to wait on Aaron Rodgers and could wait a little while longer, as Art Rooney said. But they still feel good. There's a feeling with people in the quarterback market that Pittsburgh must have gotten some sort of loose assurance at some point that Rodgers is going to go there. Now, there's some sort of working theories around there, some speculation that is he waiting on the Vikings? That's sort of a question out there. But talking to people in Minnesota, they feel like the Rodgers situation is all but dead, unless like it's late summer and he just happens to be available. But right now they're moving on with J.J. McCarthy. So he's got 2 options, the Steelers or retirement. Pittsburgh believes that based on their meetings and everything that's gone well, contract parameters, talks in their building with Rodgers, that they're well positioned and this should shake out. But it's his first foray into free agency. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. I think he's going to play for the Steelers, and I think there's been that loose assurance. I would be absolutely floored if an organization like the Steelers that has been well run, or as well run as anybody in the history of the NFL, is just mid-April flying by the seat of their pants when it comes to the quarterback position. And then at pick 21, they're going to cross their fingers and hope that a young player that's going to be unbelievable falls into their laps. That's not how they operate. That's not how they work. I know that they've been looking for the replacement of Big Ben since he left. They have to know that Aaron has told them, hey, I'm not ready yet, but I'm going to be ready, and I'll be your quarterback for the foreseeable future.
So I think one of the interesting things here is that at that pick at 20, they have a chance to get a quarterback. Could be a really good one still there. If you know that you're getting Rodgers, have you said to Rodgers, we're not going to draft a rookie? Have you said we will?
No, I don't think you say that. I think we're past that point with Aaron.
And you just do it if you have a chance to get one.
I think you're very clear with Aaron. Like, hey, you're going to be the starting quarterback, but if this kid is there and we want him, we're going to take him. And we're going to sit him and let him learn the way you did and whatnot. But I don't think you sit there and go, Aaron, you come play and we promise you we won't take a quarterback, because you do have to plan.
Yeah, and what I was told with Pittsburgh's mentality is we know we have to invest in a quarterback in the draft at some point in the next, say, 2 years. It doesn't have to be this year.
Yeah.
Next year's quarterback class is considered stronger. The last time they dipped into what was considered a weaker quarterback class, the Kenny Pickett
but they waited for it, like I don't think the kids or the young men that are going to be good pros are going to be there at pick 21.
Yeah, interesting. Would they go up?
They would. If this is we don't know, and Aaron hasn't made a decision by then, they would have no choice but to go up.
We're going to break, but you think Aaron Rodgers makes a decision before the draft?
I do.
I think you got to tell them that if you're the Steelers. We have to know. Like, we have to know 100% on paper, no.
I think we have to go to break, but it's just so interesting. Like,
There's no way you could move forward without.
ESPN sources, former Cowboys and 49ers quarterback Trey Lance reached agreement today on a one-year deal worth up to $6.2 million with the Los Angeles Chargers. Lance and Taylor Heineke are now both behind starting quarterback Justin Herbert. Interesting. All right, Shedeur Sanders was out there working out to throw, and here's more with Louis Riddick and Field Yates.
All I need is opportunity. Simple. Whatever franchise want to change their franchise, then there's no doubt who to go with. Look at the last 4 years.
Yeah.
That's how I know I'm the best quarterback in the draft.
The consistency of your decision-making and accuracy.
So
it makes sense.
It ticks all boxes.
Yeah, I got
At least the one guy. But, I'm a Sanders. They can't put me through.
So 281 FBS quarterbacks had at least 100 pass attempts, both under pressure and with a clean pocket in a season over the last decade. Shedeur Sanders is the only one to lead the nation in completion percentage in both situations. His 82% completion rate with a clean pocket in 2024 was the highest by any FBS quarterback in a season in the last 10 years. Dan, you said that the tape is difficult to evaluate at times, so let's check out some tape on Shedeur's. Why would teams talk themselves into drafting him?
Well, he's got all pro capabilities, seeing things pre to post snap, and his ability to see the field is absolutely sensational. When it comes to the anticipation throws and throwing some guys open, okay, number one, you're going to see 3rd and long. Bottom of the screen is going to be a clear out route between these two receivers. You're trying to lift coverage. You're getting this shell type of coverage, 2 safeties deep, and you don't know exactly where each safety is going to go. Now, this is a very long developing play, so you have to see what coverage lifts and where the vacancy of the zone is. At the bottom, there's those double posts, and what you're trying to get is that backside receiver, Travis Hunter, to just replace them. But you have to have vision on these guys and those safeties back, because they are going to all be communicating and doing something that we call kick coverage. This is what it looks like to throw guys open and see the rotation of the coverage from pre to post snap. Drift, which is something that happens often. And when he lets go of that football, look at these defenders. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders that have vision all on Shedeur waiting for that ball. But because he anticipates so well and sees their body movement, he could throw it to that space and allow Travis Hunter to go run underneath it. If you're a defense, you have 4, there's only 3 in the route, yet still because of the way he sees that rotation of coverage, it's a beautiful throw. This is one of my favorite throws of the season, okay? We get that umbrella coverage again, but again, you don't know as a quarterback what kind of middle field open defense that they're actually going to be into. What they're in is what we call cover 6. Cover 6 means this. This corner has got the flat. You have half of the field in zone. You have a quarter of the field, and you have a quarter of the field. That's exactly where you want to try to attack, the middle of the field of the defense, but you have to use your eyes to try to open up that space just a little bit more, something Shedeur does very well. 1, catch the ball and just peek to the bottom of the screen. Then you're pulling this defender, okay? I want to widen him. Step 2, continue to peek, because I want the safety to open his hips and square himself to the sideline. Now when you get that, what happens is, middle of the field's perfect. That safety's going wide. You now can take advantage of it, but you have to play in timing and then throw the appropriate throw. He's going to launch this seam route to that backside receiver with that trailing defender underneath. It can't be firm. Has to have a little touch over the top, but enough side safety gets there, and also that front side safety. So that's really like his strength, is his ability to see things pre-snap, and if they change, see it post-snap, and just know exactly kind of where the weakness of the defense is and get the ball out on time.
I mean, that looked NFL level. I realize there's a few things that could be improved.
I did like the fact that we saw him under center a little bit more. You did not see that.
Nick and Field Yates are out there at Colorado. They got to see this entire workout. Travis Hunter also involved. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But both of them caught up with Shedeur Sanders not too long ago. That's where we begin.
Great to be joined by Shedeur Sanders about an hour after you wrapped up your throwing session. How'd you feel like it went out there today?
I feel like it went pretty good. I feel like we missed a couple. We wish we'd have got back, but for the most part, I think it was the best one yet.
Shedeur, during this whole pre-draft run-up, what has been the thing that you have really wanted to accomplish? Look, you're not playing any games. Your tape is already out there.
Yeah.
So what you do here today kind of, for me, is kind of inconsequential, right? It don't really mean that much.
Yeah.
I know how you can play. What have you wanted to accomplish over the past couple of weeks, past couple of months as we head on into the draft?
I would say definitely it's getting closer with God. You know, that's what I'll say is the most thing, because you gotta understand people come at you every different ways. You know, the devil try to attack what's going on different ways. I know I'm one of God's favorites, so I know just getting that relationship, staying close to Him throughout all this. It just helped me get through everything.
Specific to the decision to throw today, you know, you guys, Lewis said, a lot of tape on you out there already, and some quarterbacks opt not to throw during the pre-draft process. What kind of pushed you in the direction to make sure that you threw today here at your showcase?
Well, I would say it would be kind of selfish of me to not be out there with my receivers. That was the main plan. Will didn't get invited to the combine, and I know he was better than a lot of guys out there. So it was kind of like, and my brother also, he didn't get drafted, and a couple of my other teammates. So it was kind of just one of those things to where I want everybody to come here. I want all the teams to be able to be here, for them to get the shine and for them to get an opportunity in front of everybody.
You know, I talked to your dad a lot about the kind of things that would help you be successful at the next level, right? So when you're going through this process, as much as they're interviewing you, you can interview them about what are they going to structure around you.
I definitely know that.
Exactly.
I definitely know that.
So tell
That's
us.
why they love me, they hate me. You know, one day they love me, one day they hate me. It is
question.
what
So I'll
it
tell
is.
you what, make them love you here. Tell them what does Shedeur Sanders need? What do you hope you to get out of the NFL to help you reach your maximum potential as fast as possible?
All I need is opportunity. Simple. Whatever franchise want to change their franchise.
It's a long draft process. How have you handled probably some of the mental rigors that go along with it, right? People talking about you maybe going to this team, maybe going to that time. Your stock is, you know, one day it's high, one day it's lower. How do you sort of handle all that comes along with this process?
Well, I'll say I have a great team. I have great support around me, and I know what the business is, and I know what it's about. So I don't really pay attention to the media and everything, because I have a great mentor, which is my dad, that's able to tell me, oh, you know, this is just a part of what it is. So I truly don't care when I come out here and throw. I don't care who's there. I don't care who's not there. You know, I'm out here focused on completing footballs, and that's it. So I don't know even who was here. That's how it is at Colorado games. You get all these celebrities, different people here. It's like, I don't even know they're there. I'm so focused.
Well, I knew they were there when we came here last year and we did the game against Colorado State. And I was standing down on the sideline going, is there a football game going on, or is this a concert? What is this down here? Because it was so tight. You know, there's so many people. What was that? You know, let me ask you this then. This leads me to this question. That environment. Describe what it was like playing in that environment, and how even that, when there's so many eyes, so many cameras, so many people just wanting that are interested in football that maybe weren't interested before, how that kind of helps you, and how did you embrace all that?
Well, I would say I grew up with cameras. I grew up with a lot of eyes on me. So everything in life, this is the same thing over and over. So it's just going to the next level. We was at high school. With negativity there. Okay, we private school, whatever. We went to HBCU, negativity. You know, we went to Power 5, did it, negativity. So truthfully, it's just like the same thing over and over. And I know life runs its course, and everything is a cycle in life. So I just find ways to just get sharper each and every year.
Right.
Well, there you have it. Shedeur Sanders, again, just fresh off of his throwing session here at the Colorado Showcase. We really appreciate you joining us. Best of luck over these next 3 weeks.
Appreciate it, man.
There's a really great picture by you guys and by Shedeur of who he is as a person, right? And that's one element of this. But Lewis, you got to watch the workout live this afternoon. Let's talk the football angle of it. What did you see?
You saw the things that you really expected to see, and I know that sounds like a real obvious answer, but what I mean by that is this is a guy who's just a very smooth operator, okay? He's someone who's very smooth in the pocket with his feet. He's someone who has a very smooth, fluid delivery process. It's not one that's really compromised or rather characteristic of a lot of raw horsepower. It's just a smooth, efficient delivery. Look, Shedeur's game has really been about his decision-making, his accuracy.
Here for Shedeur as far as the throwing session was concerned.
Yeah, Dan, you said all week you needed to see if the ball jumped off of his hand. What did you see when you watched the workout?
Yeah, so before I get to that, I do think it's important to point out two parts of his comments. I think, one, we can't praise Baker Mayfield and fall in love with Baker Mayfield because of his charisma, cockiness, his self-belief, and then kind of view it differently with Shedeur. I heard a lot of Baker listening to Shedeur and the confidence, and I think it's great. I also loved his answer when he talked about why he threw, guys, and when he said, well, there were some teammates of mine that didn't get to go to the combine or didn't get invited, and I knew if I threw, all those teams would come from the NFL guy. And you don't see a ton of examples of that on tape, and I wanted to see if it showed a little bit today.
Yeah, interesting point there either way. Now, we'll continue to show you the video of what this workout looked like, but we did hear more from Dion. Let's go to that first.
you know your son better than anybody.
Yes,
You've
I
been
do.
with him, clearly. What do you think Shedeur needs in order for an organization to get the best out of him? What kind of, if you were,
Understand
they should be asking you
They
those
need
questions.
a relationship. They need someone that is not afraid to
Right.
And it does seem like throughout this process, people are connecting him to certain teams. And one of the questions, you just sort of touched on this a little bit, but hey, is how much does the father, Deion Sanders, want to be involved in where his son lands?
What would I be involved for?
Yeah.
This is my show. I got this. I'm the band director here. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm straight. I keep telling everybody I'm good here.
Yeah.
They didn't believe me, so we had to ink it.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I ain't going nowhere.
Because I think he kind of answered that. But either way, Jeremy, let's go here. Assuming Cam Ward gets taken first overall, what do we know about potential landing spots for Sanders? What are you hearing?
Yeah, Laura, the people I've talked to believe that Shedeur Sanders is on the short list of players under consideration for the Cleveland Browns, along with Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, even Mason Graham. There is some love for Shedeur in that Browns building, but they spent a lot of time with Abdul Carter, a lot, so it could go that way. Giants certainly consideration at 3, but talking to teams in the top 10, they believe that the Giants might have tipped their hand with getting both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
The Giants, Travis Hunter would be my pick at 2. If I'm the Browns, Travis Hunter is my pick at 2. It's an easy decision for me. If some reason that they don't take him, if I'm the Giants and it's Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter, I really like Shedeur. This is an easy decision. I'm taking Travis Hunter as quickly as possible. I really think the Raiders still make a ton of sense. And I know the Geno Smith trade and contract is what it is. The best place situation or scheme-wise for Shedeur is to play point guard, to be Brock Purdy, to be Tua Tagovailoa, a little bit of Joe Burrow. You want him to be capable of doing that scheme-wise. Chip Kelly has run so many systems in his life, adaptable. He has plenty capability to go do that. I think it's the ideal situation for Shedeur Sanders. You don't have to get on the field right away. You have a veteran in Geno, might be able to sit for 2 years, learn, and then hit the ground running.
We know there are a ton of Giants-affiliated people there, Lewis. What should the Giants do, in your mind, at number 3?
Look, I think the Giants will take someone other than Shedeur. I just don't think there's a lot of conviction on the part of the Giants right now when you're talking about drafting him number 3 overall. Now, if you're talking about Shedeur going number 9 overall, like to the New Orleans Saints, many people would ask, well, what's the difference between
Convicted on a quarterback, it's a really difficult investment to make. That being said, there's a chance Shedeur Sanders becomes an excellent quarterback in the NFL. You can't tell me there isn't.
Right.
And we have learned time and again that teams do misevaluate these players coming out of college. I'd like to give myself another cut because I am not convinced that Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston gives this team even a full year answer for 2025.
Such a picture into the dilemma that these teams are facing, especially at the top. Jeremy, let's say a team does pass on Sanders, Giants, Browns, whoever it is. What would the concerns be? What are you hearing?
I keep going back to this because I've sort of informally polled about 10 people in the league, personnel executives. Where do you stand on Shedeur Sanders? Do you see him as a first-round graded player? More than half say no. They see him as like an early second-round type of talent. Now, we know quarterbacks get pushed.
Everybody wants every quarterback to be Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They're those guys for a reason. So if you're an organization like the Giants or like the Raiders or like the Jets and you want a quarterback that you feel, okay, there's a lot of traits that are necessary to win games at that position with, then that's how you have to pivot to. And don't tell me everything that Shedeur isn't. No, he's not 6'6", 250, run 4.4, but there's a lot of good in his game. So you got to know kind of what you're looking for and what you're getting.
Speaking of the good in his game, later on in the show, Dan has a touchscreen on just that, the positives of Shedeur. Well, thanks, Peyton. We will take it back from you. That was interesting, by the way. Good reminder of what happened there for the Mannings. And look at this. Travis Hunter working out today. He did a little more than maybe we expected to see him do, and we'll dive into that a little bit more as we go along here back to Field and Lewis in just moments. But a reminder of just how great this dual threat player is. No player in the FBS played more snaps last season than Travis Hunter at nearly 1,500. His 15 receiving touchdowns were tied for the second most in the FBS, and it set a new Colorado single-season record. He also forced 27 missed tackles on his receptions. He did all this while also picking off 4 passes and allowing just 1 touchdown in coverage. It's truly remarkable. We're going to run out of adjectives to describe this guy. I firmly believe that. But Field, what did you make of Hunter's workout today?
First of all, Laura, it was great to see him out there running routes alongside Shedeur Sanders because, of course, if there's a single player in the draft who has nothing to prove, it is Travis Hunter. Hyperbole is a word that we use often during the pre-draft process because there's a lot of it. I'm not sure we can exaggerate the brilliance of Travis Hunter. I have not seen this player in person previously. There are no pads on, but the way that he moves is unlike any other athlete that I have ever seen. Smooth, sudden, running routes. By the way, he went no gloves today. Had no problem catching the football from Shedeur Sanders. It's all effortless here from Travis Hunter. We can debate whether he belongs at wide receiver or corner until April 24th arrives, and then for the next 4 months after that, the bottom line is based off what we saw at wide receiver today, he merits #1 player in the draft consideration, even if he never takes a snap as a defensive back in the NFL.
Yeah, it's hard to really describe the kind of athlete that he is. Look, I got to play with Deion Sanders. I was in Washington when we had Champ Bailey. I got to play with Charles Woodson. So those are 3 guys right there, or rather, yeah, all 3 of them plus Travis Hunter are all dual threat guys. Or all 4 of them are two-way players. Travis is probably the most fluid of them all. Is the guy who has the most gracefulness of them all. And honestly, look, his hand-eye coordination is something that just can't be taught. There's nothing that you can do in order to develop the kind of hand-eye coordination this guy has. And when you watch him, you understand that you're looking at someone that has just uniquely been blessed by a higher power than any of us can really understand. And that's not being hyperbolic about it. That's just being honest. And I've seen these other guys up close and personal and played with them. He moves differently than all of them, and that's why really you have to consider. That's why Deion says that he is him.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, the interesting thing, and Travis would tell you, he fully expects to play on both sides of the ball at the next level. In your mind, though, is he a two-way player in the NFL?
Oh, there's no question about it, but he would be the starting wide receiver point for me. I think this young man's receiver skill set wise is like Larry Fitzgerald and Justin Jefferson together. Lou is talking about the hand-eye, the ball, the ability to go track the football, the body control that we've become accustomed to with Larry Fitzgerald, the way that he can make contested catches, the way that he is so smooth in his routes. And then when he gets into his hands, it's those long strides of Jefferson. I know there's the receiver DB thing. The way I look at it is this. When I watch his tape, there's no way that you could tell me I don't want to force the ball to him 12 times a game. I just want to get the ball in his hands 12 times a game.
Interesting.
As a defensive back, I could take you out of games at sometimes. Just the way that I can formation and run it and whatnot. And so I think there's packages of, hey, we're playing man coverage. Go play some man coverage. But he'd play wide receiver for me, and I'd get him the ball 12 times a game minimum.
See, Dan, that's fascinating because most teams I've talked to do see him as a cornerback first. The Browns are an anomaly. If they take him 2, they see him as a wide receiver. But multiple execs have pointed this out, that he could be a top 10 to 15 wide receiver, but he will be the very best cornerback in the NFL in 2 to 3 years if he focuses on that position. Now, teams are trying to figure out, okay, if you draft him at corner, we would have a package for him at the very least on offense to figure that out, but they're grappling with how to do that logistically because
that's hard.
There's so many details in the NFL. Offensive, defensive meetings a lot of times are at
formations,
the same time.
shifts,
on a Wednesday.
motions, routes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail.
It's really tough.
Not that there isn't on defense, but
I will say he is fully committed not only on the physical side but the mental side. He could compete with the best last season. In his 3 games against ranked opponents, he threw 7 touchdowns to just 1 interception. 3 of those touchdowns came against Notre Dame, who allowed the 4th fewest points per game in the FBS. In those games, he had a 74 total QBR, completed 58% of his passes. Really good stuff. And we now welcome in Tyler Shough to join the show. So glad to have you, Tyler. Thank you for joining us. We spent a lot of time talking about you, and now we get to talk to you. Now, you've spent significant amount of time in college football. It's one of my favorite things about your game. Some may view that as an advantage. Others see it as a disadvantage. So how do you respond to those who are concerned about your age as a quarterback?
Well, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. First off, they're really excited to be with you guys. But I think for me, it's just kind of turning it on its head, and it's been a positive. I feel like I have all the physical characteristics, but I've kind of gone through all the mental side of it to where I've had to, go through lacks of confidence. I've had to go through, being a transfer, being injured, being cut, and all these things that happen in the NFL. And, I just love football so much and kind of just stayed strong and stayed true to it. And I feel like I'm only growing and getting better. So I'm just really excited to kind of continue this process and finish up these last visits and hopefully get some good news at the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you will. And I know this can all be such a whirlwind with so many things going on, the interviews, the workouts, all of that. But let's talk about one moment in particular that sticks out to me. I was in the room when you ran the 40 at the Combine. We're showing it on the screen right now. Your reaction after was priceless. Why did you decide to go through with running the 40, participating in all of that, and then speak to us about how you reacted?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just wanted to go out there and compete. I think this is an NFL Combine. You only get one opportunity to do that, and I knew that was something I had in my toolbox, was just the athleticism background, and that was something we didn't necessarily do at Louisville with the pro-style offense. But I didn't think I was going to hit a 4.63 to say, and I just I got a little hyped up, got the crowd going. It's like quiet in there, man. It's so weird. So I had to get everybody going and just having fun with it. So.
It was electric after that. Like, the place erupted. It was real quiet before that. All right, so I've got Dan Orlovsky here with me. You're a lot faster than him, by the way. I'll just go ahead and tell you that.
Low bar.
Dan wanted you to look at some tape. So let's start with you, Dan, and tell us what you got for Tyler.
Yeah, so Tyler, Louis Riddick has talked about you a lot, and I hadn't seen a ton of your tape, so I started to watch it. And I texted him, I said, yeah, I get it. And so this is a play that stood out for me. Was one, you start in the gun, you shift, then you motion, and you're underneath the center. You go hard play action, and then there's that 3-level concept of what I would call like a burner pylon, and then a deep cross and a flat route. And I see on one hitch a ball get launched 40-plus yards down the field in perfect placement. And so I love that because I think it's transferable to the NFL. That's stuff, that concepts that get run in the NFL. About that play, start to finish, talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, and I think that's something that I've been trying to convey is handling the run game, handling the protections, all this stuff, shifts, motions that you're going to be asked to do. But, we're reducing to weak slot right, X-Mo, bolt 39 right, Z-bomb, X-over. So, we're trying to discourage pressure, get them in a base look. We're going to have bolt 39 right, so you're faking outside zone with 2 agents backside. Your Z-bomb is your pylon or big home run post to the opposite pylon. And then you got your deep over, deep cross. So trying to make the fake, get the opposite B gap. You're finding that middle safety and going off of him.
Okay, so first of all, I could do this for 7 hours. Is this something that was somewhat new to you this year? This type of getting under center, handling all that stuff, the play fake, the feet, and how much it's attached to it. Is that new for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in the past you're taking, you got your air raid, deep choice game, and you're taking 3-step drops and hoping the receiver gets open. And, now I'm being tasked with handling protections, handling the run game, taking 7-step drops, moving the pocket. And, I wasn't great at it at first, but I got a lot of it under my belt and I feel super comfortable with it. And I think it's become a strength, and that's something I've worked on throughout this whole process.
That 90 seconds makes me immediately think of the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, okay. We like it. Now, listen, the only person, Tyler, whose smiles will be bigger than what Dan's just was as you were breaking down that tape is Louis Riddick, who is the president of your fan club. Louis, the floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead.
Tyler, what's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Louis. I don't know why they give you so much crap, man. You just watched some ball. You just watched tape this year. It's crazy.
Hey, exactly. Look, man, I watched some tape. We did your games. I talked to Jeff and Brian down there at Louisville. I think that's where I want to go. Like, your development under Jeff and Brian Brom. Like, just speak about how they have helped you with some of the things maybe you weren't exposed to in the air raid when you were at Tech, and how that has kind of taken your game to the next level. Because I think their impact on you is immeasurable, and what is going to catapult you to some great things at the next level.
No doubt. I do want to shout out Zach Kitley at Texas Tech for kind of building that foundation of controlling some of that stuff. But, we were only running split zone, GT counter, and power a little bit. But for me, it's trying to transcend it into something great with Coach Brom. And, they both play the position. The way they coach the position is really unique. It's how I would throw this, or I maybe would have done this, or I don't think you could have gotten that ball in there. And what they asked from like I said before with Dan, with the protection standpoint, different formations and motions, you got to time up everything right perfectly. And how does that set you up to play on time? And like I said, I wasn't great at it. That was something that I was able to learn and grow from and continue to get better throughout the season. So for me, it's super just in debt to them and for believing in me throughout my kind of journey and just the craziness and understanding that, I had a lot more in the tank and had a really great year with them this past year.
Tyler, we heard Dan mentioning the Los Angeles Rams, but I'm going to ask you to put your analyst hat on here. Who is a quarterback in the NFL right now who you compare your game to?
I mean, that's pretty unique because I've always said in these meetings, and for me, I grew up watching Stafford and the stuff that he does with his arm angles. He's a tough son of a gun, and kind of he's playing through a lot of stuff and has been around, and he's playing really well and into his late 30s. And I've always really liked him, and I also like watching Josh Allen. I kind of feel like I have a little bit of him in me when it comes to being a physical force at the line of scrimmage, ripping the ball down the field. So I would say those two guys come to mind who I watch the most.
Two good guys to comp yourself to. I think there's a lot of similar traits, but I think the most fascinating thing today was just the understanding of everything that goes into handling each play in and of itself, the protections, the run game, the rhythm, the concepts, how you see it. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway because the physical stuff is there.
Yeah, Tyler, after a long NFL career, you can join us on NFL Live, okay? We may all be old farts by then.
Make sure it's a long career, though. We got money to make.
Exactly. I feel pretty confident in that. Thanks so much, Tyler Shough, for joining us here on NFL Live. We're so excited to watch your journey through this process and getting to the draft and then what's next for you. We appreciate you.
Good luck, man.